and neither did he dot in the dying light of a New Mexico sunset. A teenage boy rode into the quiet town of Lincoln, dust on his boots, trouble in his eyes, and a heavy past he never asked for. His name was Henry McCarty, but history would come to know him as Billy the Kid, the most wanted outlaw in the American West. But behind the headlines, behind the six-shooter and the bounty posters, there was a story far more human. A story most never heard. Billy wasn't born a killer. He was born in the slums of New York City to an Irish immigrant mother who worked herself sick just to keep him fed. After her death when he was barely 15, Billy was left alone in the ruthless machinery of the American frontier. He didn't steal for greed, he stole to eat. He didn't fight to harm, he fought to survive. And somewhere in the lawless sprawl of the Southwest, the boy they called Kid became a symbol, not just of rebellion, but of resilience. But there's one moment that changed everything. It was 1879. Billy had broken out of jail again, dodging deputies and trackers like a ghost. A price hung on his head, and anyone who helped him risked their life. Yet one bitter winter night, he found shelter in the most unexpected place, a widow's ranch outside Fort Sumner. Maria Delgado, a Mexican woman in her late 40s, had buried her husband and two sons in a mining accident years before. She lived alone with her young grandson, Mateo. She didn't know who Billy was, not at first. Just saw a boy half-starved, shaking from fever, collapsed by her barn, and without question, she dragged him inside, fed him hot broth, and wrapped his wounds. Billy stayed for 3 days. And for those 3 days, he was no outlaw. He was just a boy again, playing cards with Mateo, helping Maria fix a broken fence, humming the lullabies his mama once sang. On the third morning, Maria sat beside him on the porch and asked the question that cracked something deep inside him. What? Is it you're running from, Mio? Billy didn't answer, but he didn't have to. That night, as snowflakes dusted the prairie, he left without a word, but left behind a pouch of gold coins, stolen in his last heist. Enough to keep Maria and Mateo fed for years. He would go back to being the outlaw. But something had changed in the months that followed. Billy was hunted like a wild animal. Newspapers called him a monster, a killer, but in Fort Sumner, an old woman told a different story to anyone who would listen. He was just a boy, she said. A broken boy with a kind heart, and maybe she was right. Maybe that was the truth buried under the legend. Because when Pat Garrett, Billy's old friend turned lawman, finally found him and pulled the trigger in a dark room, he didn't kill a villain. He killed a kid who'd never been given a chance. Years later, long after the gun smoke had cleared, a groan, Mateo returned to that ranch, and on the worn wood of the porch, he carved 7 simple words with his knife. Here lived the boy who tried to change. Sometimes the most dangerous men are just the most wounded boys, and sometimes a single act of kindness can echo across history. In the wild, unforgiving West, where justice was fast and hearts were hard, the legend of Billy the Kid still rides, not as a warning, but maybe, just maybe, as a reminder that no one is beyond redemption.